Invisible Man was one of my favorite reads of last year, and we need to talk about this book. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. This book was published in 1952. Our protagonist is a young black man who is attending college in the South. Somehow he ends up leaving college for reasons that I won't reveal here. So he moves to New York City and specifically to Harlem. At the time, there's a lot of social unrest and a lot of rioting going on. He ends up being recruited by a communist group because he's excellent at public speaking. This leads to many adventures, and in the process, we get to see what it's like to be black in America at that time. It's interesting to see how he tries to bring the community together. Today I have two discussion points for you. The first one is the idea of being invisible. So at the beginning of the story, we're introduced to a millionaire philanthropist, Mr. Norton, who is an elderly white man who likes to brag about how he's donated a lot of money to the college and he's interested in helping young black people further their education. Interestingly, he reappears at the end of the book and meets the protagonist again but doesn't recognize him. So in other words, Mr. Norton likes to think of himself as helping black people in general, but he's not able to recognize one individual, cannot remember his face or his name. And if you notice in the book, the protagonist is unnamed. I believe this was done on purpose to help the reader experience that feeling of not being seen. This is a running theme throughout the book. And to me, it felt like an open wound the protagonist carries with him because he never feels seen as an individual. Various people assume things about him or want to use him for their purpose, but nobody really listens to him and sees him for who he is. The second discussion point is the idea of identity and belonging. This turns out to be a complex issue for the protagonist. He is living in a segregated world, so there's this contradiction of the white establishment being willing to encourage promising young black students to get an education, but then at the same time, they want them separate at a black college. So this is the concept of separate but equal, which to me doesn't make any sense. The fact that you are separating people implies that there are power imbalances. So therefore, the word equal does not apply. Also, in New York at that time, there was a group that was advocating violence, and he didn't feel comfortable joining that group because that wasn't what he believed in. It's not that he necessarily disagrees with their claims about injustice. He agrees with that part, but he doesn't want to use violence as the solution. There's also the fact that he is from the South and he is trying to fit in New York City. So it's like a regional difference that makes him feel like he has to hide his Southern identity. So that just adds to the whole feeling of alienation that is prevalent throughout the narrative. Overall, this book really made me reflect on the idea of open-mindedness, acceptance, and the fact that regardless of race or level of education, a person is a unique individual, and it's important to listen to what they have to say before you form your opinion of them. I actually read this book in December, but it took me a while to sit down and write down my thoughts about it, but I guess it kind of worked out because it's now February and it's Black History Month. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments. And until next time, happy reading!